Boy, am I starving. Let me have some of that red stuff there.
All right. Trade me your birthright for it.
When a man is starving to death, what good is his birthright?
Well then, vow to God that your birthright is mine.
I swear it.
This is the story of Jacob and Esau. Jacob was used to being around the house and could cook, whereas Esau was...
The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was a quiet man staying among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and said to him,
My son,
Yes, sir, Father.
I'm an old man now, and about ready to die any day. Take your bow and arrows and go into the fields and find me some venison. And then prepare it the way I like it, savory and good. And bring it to me so that I may eat, that I may give you the blessings that are yours before I die.
Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left for the open country to hunt game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Look, I over..." "Go and get them for me." So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty food, just the way his father liked it. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son, Jacob. She also covered his hands and the smooth part of his neck with the goat skins. Then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and the bread she had made. He went to his father and said, "My father."
Father,
Yes, who is it? Esau or Jacob?
it is I, Esau, the oldest. I have done what you wanted me to. I brought you a delicious venison. Now sit up, eat, and bless me with all your heart.
How did you get it so quick, my son?
Jehovah put it in my path.
Come over here. I want to feel you and be sure that it really is Esau. with a voice. The voice is that of Jacob's, but the hands, the feel, is that of Esau. Are you really Esau?
Yes, of course.
Then bring me the venison, and I will eat it, and I will bless you with all my heart. Come here and kiss me, my son. The smell of my son is the smell of the earth and the fields that Jehovah has blessed. May God always give you the plenty of rain for your crops, and the good harvest of grain, and the new wine. May many nations be your slaves. Be the master of your brothers. May all your relatives bow low before you. Cursed are all who curse you, and blessed are those who bless you.
Isaac finished blessing him, and Jacob had scarcely left his father's presence. His brother Esau came in from hunting.
Here I am, Father, with the venison. Sit up and eat it, and give it your finest blessing.
Who is it?
Why, it's me, of course, your oldest son, Esau.
Then who is it? Who was just here with this venison? And I have already eaten and already have given the irreversible blessings.
Oh, my Father, bless me too.
I have already made him your master, and I have given him yourself and all of his relatives and his servants. I have guaranteed him the abundance of the grain and of the wheat and the wine. It is there. None left to give you.
No wonder they call him the cheater. For he took my birthright, and now he has stolen my blessings. Oh, haven't you one blessing for me?
Yours will be no life of ease and luxury, but you shall have your way with your sword. For a time you will serve your brother, but you will finally shake loose from him and be free.
This is what to do. Flee to your uncle Laban in Haran. Stay there with him a while until your brother's fury is spent, and he forgets what you have done. Then I will send for you. That's all I can think of to say. For why should I be bereaved of both of you in one day? I'm sick and tired of these local girls. I'd rather die than see Jacob marry one of them.
And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Pandan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan Aram, And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set upon the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, God of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth. And thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning, and took the stone that he had put for his pillows, and set it up for a pillar, and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel. But the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, If God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house. And of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee. Then Jacob went on his journey, and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in his place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren,
Do you know Laban?
Of course, he's my father.
I'm your cousin Jacob.
Jacob! Come on, I'll take you to my father.
Father, Jacob from Isaac and Rebekah's here.
Yes, I must go meet him.
When Laban heard the tidings of Jacob his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. O Laban, all these things. And Laban said unto him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob,
Well, you've been here for a month. There's no reason you should work without pay. Tell me what you want, and I'll give it to you.
Laban, I will work for you for 7 years if you will give me your daughter Rachel for my wife.
Okay. Better that she go with a relative than a stranger, so I agree.
And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast.
Rachel, you're not going to be marrying Jacob.
What? I don't believe this.
Well, it's going to happen. And I don't have time to explain now. Jacob doesn't even know. Leah, you're going to be marrying Jacob.
Me? Me?
You're going to be marrying Jacob.
And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for a handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah.
I'm not Rachel.
Leah, what are you doing here?
You married me.
No. Wait a minute. I married Rachel.
No, you married me.
I married Rachel.
You
I
married
worked
me.
7 years for Rachel.
You married me.
How could I have possibly married you?
You must have been drunk. You married me.
Laban!
He said to Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week. And he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, there, with your brunette hair, for a minute there I thought you were Leah. After 7 years, I finally got the right one.
Come a little.
and gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister, and said unto Jacob,
Rachel, what are you doing out here?
Jacob, give me children or I'll die.
Oh, am I God? I can't help it if your womb is barren. Leah has children.
I know Lee has children. I know you can't help it if my womb is barren. Why don't you sleep with Bilhah, my handmaiden? Really, I'm serious. I want you to. Then we can raise the babies as if they were our very own. With God's approval. Please? Please, Jacob, please?
All right. For you, anything.
Oh, thank you, Jacob. Thank you so much.
with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, A troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went into the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah,
Leah, please, I'm begging you. Give me these mandrakes.
It's one thing that you steal my husband. And now you will steal my son's mandrakes too?
You know, because of these mandrakes, Jacob's gonna sleep with you tonight?
Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him and said,
You must sleep with me tonight. For I must hire you. My son found some mandrakes, of which I can pay you with.
He lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob the 5th son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maidens to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the 6th son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and hearkened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived, and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, Send me away, that I may go unto mine own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service, which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, Appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, Thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude. And the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And he said, What shall I give thee? And Jacob said, Thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, Behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he-goats that were ring-straked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and piled white strakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had piled before the flocks in the gutters in the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and he brought forth cattle ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-straked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban, and he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feeble were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and men servants, and camels, and asses. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, Return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the God of my fathers hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father. And your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-straked shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring-straked. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father, and given them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes, and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straked, speckled, and grisled. The angel of the God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straked, speckled, and grisled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and when thou vowedest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from the land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. And Jacob rose up, and set his sons and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Paddan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river, and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the 3rd day that Jacob was fled. And he took his brethren with him, and pursued after him 7 days' journey. And they overtook him in Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the valley of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob,
What do you mean by sneaking off like this? Are my daughters like prisoner in battle? You sneak off in the middle of the night. I don't know where anybody is. Why didn't you let me have a party? I could have had an orchestra and singers and a harp. But now you sneak off in the middle of the night. And this is a very, very, very strange way to act. And I could crush you. But I saw God in a dream last night, and he told me to be merciful. But I just don't understand. Even if I could understand why you took off with my daughters and my grandchildren and my sheep and my slaves, I still don't understand why you had to take my idols.
I sneaked away because I was afraid. I said to myself, he'll take away my daughters and my family. As for your gods, I don't know anything about those, and a curse be upon the person who took them. I hope he dies. If you find a single thing that I have stolen from you, I swear before all these men, bring it here, and I will give it back to you.
I'm sorry, Father, but I'm ill and I can't stand up.
These women are my daughters. These are my grandchildren. And all the flocks that you have are mine. How could you possibly think that I would harm the things that I love? All right. We must sign a pact and live by it. Do you agree?
I agree.
All right.
Therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, Gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And laid Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels, into 2 bands, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he had prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince thou hast power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after? And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And he passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes, and saw the women and the children, and said,
Who are all these people with you?
They're my children.
And what were all the herds and flocks I saw as I came?
They are my gifts to curry your favor.
My brother, I have plenty. Keep what you have. Well, let's be going. My men and I are here to stay with you and to lead the way.
Please take my gifts, for God has been very generous with me, and I have enough. As you can see, some of the children are small, and the flocks and herds have their young. And if they are driven too hard, they will die. So you go on ahead of us, and we'll follow at our own pace and meet you at Seir. Wonderful, beautiful sweetheart of a weather girl is on her brand new field report, so we'll be having some of that tonight as well.